What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm gonna show you how to Dockerize your Django app in basically no time. Let's get started. This is the Django app that we want to Dockerize, a simple library API. And if you wanna learn how to build these APIs in Django and Django REST framework, check out the links in the description. I have a couple of videos covering that topic. So the very first thing that we're gonna do is just to have a look what is inside. So I just execute Python manage run server to launch my development server. We have a look, we have just a simple welcome page. And if I go to /authors, I'm gonna get the list of all the authors that I have in the database and the corresponding book identifier that this author has. And if I go to /books, I'm gonna get all the list of books and also the corresponding author that we have in the database. So this is the API that we wanna build. So the very first thing that we have to do is to install a Wsgi server. This is the server that is going to be handling all the requests and pass it to Django. So to do so, we're gonna be just doing Python install unicorn. This is the server that we're gonna be using in this tutorial. Now that we have installed unicorn, we need to generate a requirements.txt file. To do so, we need to do pip freeze, then requirements.txt. And this produces just a txt file with all the different requirements that our project needs, all the different packages. That's why every time that you start a Django project, always start from a clean environment, okay? Just to make easier this process of generating these requirements. Now, the next step is that we need to create two different files. One is called Docker file, and the other one that is called entrypoint.sh. And just to save a bit of time, I have a gist where I'm gonna just put the link in the description that you can just grab, copy, and paste. And I'm gonna do precisely that. I'm gonna copy this Docker file, paste it here, and let's just have a quick look what is happening here in this Docker file. First, I'm pulling the Python image 3.9, and I'm setting a couple of environment variables. One is just to tell the Docker do not compile this Python code. And also the other one just to redirect all the outputs that we have in our Python to the Docker output, okay? Now I define my working directory and I copy the requirement file to that working directory. Later, I run the pip install, and after that, I just copy all the code. You might be wondering why you're doing this. Well, I don't want to be installing the requirement files every time that I modify the code. So I want this step to be cached and only to change when there is a change in the requirement file. Then I expose the port 8000 and also change the permissions to be execution for this entry point. I define it as an entry point, and then we have a default command. And the second argument to this unicorn command should be the project name, that in this case is library. Inside we have Wsgi, and inside we have the variable name that we are gonna be calling. In this case is application. And setting here 4 workers, and then this -b is just gonna say, okay, you're gonna be running on this server, localhost, and port 8000. Now, the other file that we need is the entry point. The entry point is actually quite simple. This is gonna be executed every time that I do Docker run or that I run this container. And I want to make sure that every time that I run this container, I am up to date with my database. So I execute all the migrations that need to be executed. As well, you can define or collect the static in this step. In this case, I don't have any static, so I don't need this step. And the final is just a line, is just for saying, okay, after you execute all this, then keep going with the next command, okay? I save this, and now we can build the Docker image. So to do so, we do Docker build, then we need to specify where the Docker file is. In this case, it's in the same folder that I am at the moment, and then we need to provide the tag. And let's just call it library API latest. Once that we have run this command, we have built already our Docker image, our Docker container. So how do we test it? Well, we simply need to do docker run -p. We need to say, okay, redirect everything that is in the container or port 8000 to my local port 8000. And just in my case, I need to specify an extra flag because I'm in WSL, sorry. I need to say network, and I want to use my host network just to be able to be using my local browser, my local network, okay? So what do we see here? We see that we have applied migrations. That's precisely what we wanted to do. And we have the Unicore listening at this port. If I go again and then just go to this server, so to the address, I'm gonna have again my application up and running. So let's just quickly have a look. /books, I get the list of all the books, and /authors, and I get the list of all the authors. So that's how you Dockerize and Django app in basically no time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. See you next time. Bye-bye.